All right, guys, in today's video, we got the Vtuvia SJ26 fat tire e-bike. Let's get into it and check it out. Right off the bat, you already know this bike is completely flashy. Let me give you a quick little walk around real quick. It is a gorgeous looking bike. It does seem like it has a short wheelbase compared to other bikes that I've been on, but I have ridden it down the street and it actually felt very comfortable. Now that you got that little walk around, let's go over some of the specs of this bike. So this bike is gonna be a 48 volt system, and you're gonna have a 750 watt motor in the back with a peak of about 1,000 watts. You got Kenda tires on here. They are 26 inches by 4 inches wide, and you can air them up anywhere from 5 to 30 PSI. In the rear, you have some Logan brakes. You got the SJ26 logo right here. You have your kickstand way in the back, so your pedals are not going to end up hitting the kickstand, which is a very nice feature. For the cranks, they're by Pro Wheel, and then I do not know where these pedals are from, but I will say that the bearings are not very good in them because they do not free spin. They're very stuck on there. Right in the back here, this is where the controller is sitting. You do have 4 Allen bolts if you need to get to it. It is gonna be a Synwave, and it is 28 amps. Sliding up to the battery, you have this logo from the brand, but you can take it off if you want because it is a sticker. So if you want to rebrand it, you can. This is going to be a 13 amp hour battery. So that means with the power of this rear motor and the battery of this size, you're looking at probably about 18.5 miles of range if you just use the electric throttle. But if you use pedal assist, you could probably get about 25 miles of range. Moving on to the front of the bike, you have the logo right in the front, and then coming down here, you have some very, very nice front forks on here. You are gonna have Logan brakes in the front also, and if you come up to the top, you're gonna have your preload adjustment right here, and then right on the other side, you're gonna have your lockout. Some of the specs on the forks say the travel is 100 millimeters, the rake is 42 millimeters, and the boost is 135 millimeters. It does come with a nice integrated headlight that sits right here. Technically, this bracket is supposed to be behind the fork, so if you install this, you might want to have a cleaner look by putting it in the back. But it does come with a headlight, which is very nice. Before we check out everything on the top real quick, let's slide over to this side and check out this side of the battery. This is where you're gonna have your key, so you can lock it and unlock it if you want to take the battery out. And then you're gonna also have a battery bar right here that you can push, and it will tell you where your battery's sitting at if you do not have the display turned on that tells you. So it's another way of checking the battery percent. Now, for whatever reason, if you want to take this battery off and you want to charge it in the house, or you just want to take it off in general, you use this key, pop it off. You would think that it would slide up like most of the electric bikes do, but since this frame is so close to the top, it actually slides out from the side. So it bends out to the corner, then you basically just lift it up off the thing, and then you have your battery. If you guys want to know the watt hour on this battery, it is 624 watt hours. And then to put the battery back in, you have to put it at a slight angle and then slide it over and it pops right back in. Then take your keys with you. You're going to have a quick disconnect right here if you ever have to work on this front tire to replace a flat or anything like that. So that makes the front coming off very, very easy. Sliding down here, you have a 44-2 sprocket right here, and then you're gonna have a Shimano cassette in the back, and then you're gonna have a Journey Shimano derailleur. For the rear of the bike, there is no quick disconnect. You will have to get a socket or a wrench, and you'd have to take both of these bolts off. Then you'd also have to take the chain off, the derailleur, and then unplug this cable right here. Then you'd be able to remove the rear tire if you ever had a flat. Coming up to the top, you have a quick release for the seat, and underneath the seat, you have a nice carrying handle if you ever need to move the bike, which is very, very nice because you will be moving this bike every so often if it's in your garage, putting it on your bike rack, or just putting it somewhere where you're gonna lock it up at. All right, and this is how it's gonna look when you sit on the bike. So let's start on this side. You're gonna have some nice rubber grips on here. I love these things. I think they're pretty cheap to be honest, but they feel so good in the hands and they're so basic, but love them to death. You have metal bar ends right here. You got your non-hydraulics. These are cable brakes on the front. You're gonna have your power buttons right here. So if you hold this middle one, it is going to turn on the display. The display is not color, it is black and white. Coming up to this up arrow right here, that is going to change your pedal assist level. If you hold both the top and bottom arrows, you can get into the custom settings if you want to. If you want to know what all this stuff does, the manual will tell you everything. If not, you can look this display up. It is the SW900. Sliding over to this side, we have the Shimano 7-speed. This seems like it comes with all e-bikes nowadays. No issues with it. It's slightly on the cheap side, but it does the job. And then you have a thumb throttle right here. And then you have the grip and another metal bar end. These bars are from Pro Max, and they're a low rise, maybe like a 1-inch rise or so. Then you have your cable management right here. I'm not very happy with this cable management. I think they could have done a lot better. I feel like the issue with the cable management, it's nice that it does go into the frame in here and you don't see the rest of it down there, but they're just too long. All these wires are just way too long. I see how this one's just bunched up here. It could have been shortened. Same with this one. This one could have been shortened also. And the one for the shifter too. I mean, look how long this thing is. It doesn't need to be that long when you turn. It's not gonna pull itself apart. Now that we have went over everything on this bike, now I think it's time we get on it, let's put our helmet on, and let's go ride it down the street, and let's go test out all the stuff on it and see how it feels. All right, before we actually get on the bike, I wanted to go over the charger real quick because I forgot about it. It is a 2-amp charger, and if you had to charge this bike from 0 to 100, you're looking at about 4 to 5 hours. And they also give you some tools so you can assemble this bike without having to purchase some tools, which is very nice. The only thing I didn't like about the charger, and check this out, it says KeyU on the charger. That goes to nothing. That doesn't say the bike name, the manufacturer, nothing like that. That's probably the brand of the actual charger, I'm assuming. But you might have to label this so you know if you got multiple bikes in your garage. Just keep that in mind. All right, straight to pedal assist number 5. Let's see how much power we can get out of this thing. The display is telling me 999 watts. Now it's at 800 watts. So like I said, it has a peak of 1,000, but it should normally do about 750. Let's see what our top speed is. 24, 25, 26. Hey, 26. Still going. It's taking a little bit, but it's going. 26 and a half. All right, so I think we topped out at about 26 miles per hour. So as you're riding this bike, if you ever had to change your pedal assist and you want to use throttle only, just keep in mind that it does nothing. You can still hit max speed regardless of whatever pedal assist you're on if you're just going to use the throttle. And by the way, we hit 27 miles per hour when I was just messing around doing that stuff, but it went back down to 26. But going back to what I was saying, pedal assist is basically if you're going to pedal. So pedal assist 1 is going to give you the least amount of power, but it's going to save a lot of your battery. And then pedal assist 5 is going to give you the most power when you pedal, but it's going to start killing your battery and you'll get less range. So I'm almost about 2 miles in on this ride, and I just can't get over of how these cables look. I mean, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but this is just a mess. Like, I'm not a big fan of this. Like, what is that? They definitely could have done something with these cables. I mean, I feel like they're just all over the place. Like, look how long these things are. So that would be my suggestion to the company, to try to fix that, to shorten it up a little bit. Obviously, leave it with enough room so when you do turn the wheel, it's not going to snag on anything, but it definitely does not need to be this big. The steering feels a little tight, I will say. It's not the easiest to steer. It's actually more easier to stay straight with this bike. I feel like turning-wise, you have to put a lot of effort into turning. It has to do with these big, massive tires. All right, we're gonna start at this pole right here. We're gonna do a speed test. I'm gonna pedal and use the throttle at the same time to get the best speed test possible. There are some people ahead of me, so let's see how this goes. So 1, 2, 3, go. 15, 17, 19, 22, 25. Well, we had to let off because there's people in the way. All right, so let's do our test right here. It is a little downhill, so sorry about that, but we couldn't do it in that other section. We ran out of road. So 1, 2, 3, go. 15, 16, 18, 19, 21, 24, 25, 26, and 26.4. This bike picks up fast. You'd be surprised. 750 watt motor on this bike. It doesn't weigh that much. So this bike weighs about 70 pounds. So I guess it's not the lightest bike, I would say, but it definitely feels lighter when I'm riding it. The only bad thing about it, I know it holds up to 350 pounds altogether, but there is no bike rack in the back at all. There's no fender on the front or the back. Now you do have mounting spots, so if you do want to buy your aftermarket fender, or maybe the company themselves, they sell one, but you have a mounting bracket right here, you got 2 right here, you also have 3 right here, so you can put whatever you kind of want. I've seen people also put them on the stem, so you can get a seat mounted bike rack if you wanted, but fenders would probably be a must depending on where you're riding at. You also have the mounting brackets up here, so you got one behind the headlight, and then you have one right here that has a little plug in it. So you can also put a fender up here, it just doesn't come with it. Now that we're in the dirt, let's just go ahead and see how it does. I don't think it's gonna have a problem whatsoever. Fat tire bikes normally absorb so much more, and you got some beefy suspension in the front. The only thing that would make this bike feel a little bit better and more comfortable would be a adjustable seat post that has suspension in it. It's handling everything out here. It's not the smoothest bike I've been on, but you can also air these tires down. I have these tires aired up to about 27 or 28, and I believe the max PSI is 30. You can go all the way down to 5, it says on these tires. So if you were really gonna hit stuff like this, you can soften it up a lot. It's just really gonna kill your range though, just keep that in mind. And these grips, my hands aren't slipping off the grips. I love them. I've always loved these type of grips when companies put these on bike. And we're hitting 26 in the dirt. Pretty damn good. All right, now we need to do our brake test. So we need to get up to top speed and let's hit the brakes and see how they do. I'm gonna go off this sign in the street because there's nothing really around here. So as soon as I hit this sign, we're hitting the brakes. Oh man, we slid a lot. We definitely slid a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16 to 17 feet, roughly. Maybe closer to 20 because I was moving with the bike, but not too bad. Obviously you can see our skid mark. The front is where I started, but obviously it locked up the back right away, so that's why the back is farther than this pole. But not too bad. It brakes really good. Now that's something I don't want to do all the time because I'm not trying to ruin my tires like that and replace them. But definitely stops if you really need to. It's just these brakes feel very mushy. I really like mechanical brakes. I'm a big thing for mechanical brakes. I would pay more to have a bike with mechanical brakes. Like, this is like barely holding it and it's not doing anything. And that's even holding it all the way down. Using one brake and not both does not slow you down fast enough, I don't think, if you really had to stop. And this bike is faster than a lot of e-bikes that I have been on. It has a lot of good pickup speed. So brakes are very, very important. But look at that, we're still hitting 999 watts, but right now it's down to 590. So once you start hitting your top speed, you don't need that power anymore because you're already at the max speed. You're gonna use most of your power from the get-go from like 0 to 25. So here's one thing on the bike that I noticed that's actually pretty cool. Most bikes have a very short turning radius. Now you can't turn so wide when you're actually, you know, moving the bike under power and stuff like that. But if you're moving it in a garage or a tight space and need to back it up somehow, these things go completely backwards, basically. So that is a very nice feature when you're trying to move it around your garage. This is a solid bike for speed, man. We're down 1 battery bar and it says we did 4 miles. It has been on 4 miles for a hot minute. I feel like we've done 6 miles, to be honest, so I don't know if that's actually reading 100% accurate. I haven't changed none of the wheel diameter, speed, or nothing like that. There we go. Now we hit 5 miles right after I said that. And we're actually back up on full bars. So we're down a battery bar, but now we're back up to full. So on this display, you have 5 battery bars. And I would say once you're on the last 2, you definitely want to make sure you're close to home, because you're going to start losing power and speed. And you never know when those last 2 battery bars are gonna go, especially that last one. That last one is unforgiving. Like once you hit that last one, it could be a mile, it could be 5 miles, you never know. So I never trust that last battery bar. And it's not just this company I'm saying that about, that's about any e-bike out there. I would never get it down that far. All right, so I decided to let off the throttle and just kind of pedal the bike and just kind of see how it feels. It feels very natural. It feels like a normal mountain bike. It doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It feels very nice. And we're hitting 26, 25 miles on average pedaling, and I'm not even gonna have to put that much work into it. So if you really want to get some type of workout, pedaling this bike is no problem. Damn, we passing cars out here. They're so slow. right, so I want to be honest, when I first got this bike in and I took it out of the box before I even rode it and I just kind of saw it, I love the look of it. Obviously, like, that was my favorite part of it, but I had low expectations for it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's one thing you got to be careful on bikes. But I had low expectations for the bike. I was like, all right, it's probably going to be slow. It's not going to be very fun. It's going to feel like very crappy or something like that. And absolutely not. I haven't even complained about this seat because this seat feels comfortable. You do have to sit farther back on the seat than I do on most bikes, but that's just to kind of get my cheeks up on there. If you sit kind of more forward on the seat, it actually starts hurting. But if you sit the proper way on this seat, it fits my butt very, very good. Now, your mileage might vary depending on your size. I'm 160 pounds, I'm 5'10", and I feel like I'm a pretty average size, and I don't have a problem. All right, I wanted to slow down and show you guys real quick that we're still hitting 1,000 watts on this bike, and it's rated, obviously, for 750 with a peak of 1,000. But even though we've done 7 miles on this bike, which I think is more, look, it's still saying 999 for wattage. I love the fact that this display shows your wattage. Now, as you start hitting your top speed, it starts going down. Like at 22 miles per hour, it jumped down to like 800 watts. And then at 25 miles per hour, it jumped down to like 600 to 500 watts because you're not using that much power to hold that top speed. But fantastic bike, guys. I'm actually more impressed with the takeoff speed and how it feels on the road. It's not the most comfortable bike, but if I had to give it a rating from 0 to 10, it's definitely probably like a 8 out of 10. I feel like the only thing that would make this bike bigger, like we talked about, is it needs fenders. I wish it came with fenders. It has no rear light, so just keep that in mind. So people aren't gonna see you at night unless you get some type of seat post light or something like that. And then the other thing that would make this better is getting a seat post that has suspension in it, and then you would take care of the rear, and it'd be a lot more comfortable. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys like this review. I don't even need to get off the bike and talk in camera. I can tell you right now that this is actually a nice bike. So if you guys are thinking about picking up this bike, I think it is a very good buy. Right now it's on sale, and you can save some money with my discount link that's gonna be in the description. It might be a discount link or a coupon code, not 100% sure, but it should probably save you anywhere from $50 to $100 off this bike. And with it being on sale right now for $1,550, this brings this bike down to about $1,500. So if you feel like it's worth it for you, I don't think it's a bad option. It's just, if you want fenders on a bike and a rear bike rack, then this is probably not gonna be the bike for you. But if you want more speed than like carrying stuff around, you're just gonna put a backpack on and you're not worried about getting maybe splashed with like puddles and stuff like that, then this is a great option. So I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely check the link in the description, check it out. Go to their page, read about the specs, even though we did a pretty good job of going over it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love all you guys, true MVPs of the channel. Thanks for sticking around. Peace.